Welcome to Photoshop. In today's tutorial, we are going to be working with the elephant.tif file. And what I just want to do is talk to you a little bit about Photoshop. So Photoshop is a graphic software where they work in things called pixels. So if I zoom in a lot, you can see that there's these little squares of information. Those are called pixels. It's kind of like looking at a tiled floor and there's different colored variations. So resolution is the term used to describe the size of the grid. So if it's 300 by 40, an image that has 320 pixels across by 240 down. When we're working with resolution, we usually have two different types. We have images that are made to go on the internet, which would be a lower resolution, and then we have images that are going to be meant for print, which would be a higher resolution. Images made to go on the internet usually have a 72 dot per inch, and images for print would have a minimum of 150 and usually maximum of 600. Average would definitely be about 300 DPI for print, so 300 resolution. So let's look at tools. This is our toolbar on the side here. Whenever we click on something on the toolbar, you will notice that we get another menu. So when I'm on the lasso tool, I got my different options on the side. So if you click down, you'll see that they're constantly changing. The other thing on the sidebar here, we have our layers, our adjustments, our colors, our swatches. If for some reason we lose all of these, the easiest way to bring anything back is if you go up to the top and you go to Window, Workspace, Reset Essentials, and everything will come back. So if you lose your layers, you could just go to Window, Layers, and show it. But if you want to make sure that everything comes back, you'll go to Window, Workspace, Reset Essentials, and everything will come back. That's a good thing to remember. So when we're doing things with Photoshop and we're trying to make selections, this is our rectangular marquee tool. If I hold it down, I get a flyout. So elliptical marquee tool, which will make ovals and circles, single row, single column. These are not used as much, but definitely the rectangle and the elliptical are. Here we have our lasso tool. We have polygonal lasso tool and magnetic lasso tool. We'll be playing with these in some of the other tutorials. If I hold this one down, the first one is quick selection tool and the next one is magic wand. So we will be working with magic wand for this tutorial. So what I want to do now is hold this down, select the magic wand. I'm going to go up to the top and change my tolerance to 90. I want to make sure that up at the top, the anti-alias and the contiguous is checked. And I'm going to click on the background. So right now I have the background selected. What I want to do to inverse it and have the elephant selected is go up to the top, select, inverse, and now I just have the elephant selected. If I hit Control C or Command C on a Mac, it copies it. The other way you could do it is Edit, Copy. And then what I'm going to do is hit Control V or Command V on a Mac, or you could have gone to Edit, Paste. So if we look over on our sidebar, we see that we have now created an elephant. If I turn the eye off of the background layer, which is just hiding the visibility, I can see that it has removed the background. So I'm just going to click on the layer one and call it elephant. And then what I want to do is over on the sidebar here, we have our eraser tool. I am going to change up the size to 19. And then I'm going to go down and erase the ground. So you can do this in one click, you can do it in multiple clicks, whatever you feel comfortable with. And if you want to zoom in to get that little bit right here, there's a zoom tool down here. And you can zoom in. Go back to your eraser tool. You can even adjust your brush size if you wanted to work with a smaller brush at this point. I'm going to move around my canvas now, make sure I grabbed everything. There we go. And then going back to my zoom tool, if I go up to the top and I hit the minus, I can zoom out. Okay, so here I have one elephant. What I want to do now is I want to duplicate it. So if I right click over on the blue part of my layer, I can duplicate my layer. And I'll call this elephant right. And then I'm going to duplicate this and I'll call it elephant left. So I'm going to move with the move tool my elephant to the left. I'm going to hit Control T or Command T and I get my transform box. I'm going to hold Shift and only grab from the four corners so I scale it within proper proportion. Also, when I have my transform box, I can click and drag inside and I can actually move it. When I'm happy, which I'm happy with, I'm just going to hit Enter and I'm out of my command. Now I'm going to go to my other elephant. Actually, I noticed that this is elephant right, so I'm just going to move it to the right side. My elephant left, Control T, brings up my transform box, hold Shift, grab from the four corners, and if I'm happy, I'll hit Enter. So what I want to show you now is I'm going to actually go back and I'm going to do it the wrong way. So if I don't hold Shift, I can actually scale it where it's not constrained and the elephant gets all shifted at a proper proportion. So let's put him back to where he should be. Okay. So now what we want to do is we're going to change up the colors. So I'm going to have my elephant left. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to play around with the different adjustments here. So I think I'll pick Hue and Saturation. And if I move my box, I can bring up the saturation. I can change my elephant to a green tone here. And then I'll pick my right one, Image, Adjustments, and this time I'm going to play with vibrance, and I'm going to bring up the vibrance and the saturation. Okay, on the next one, Image, Adjustments, and let's try Channel Mixer. I'll bring up the blues and a little bit of the green. And there we go. So we have three different colored elephants. There we go. We have three different colored elephants. Now what I want to do is I want to move this big elephant in front of the other ones. So if I click and I drag, this elephant is now in the front. And I can turn on the background. I now want to blur these two elephants to make them look like they're coming out of the distance. So if I click on elephant left, I go up to Filter, Blur, Blur More. He is now blurred. This guy I'm going to do it twice because he's further away. If I go up to Filter, Blur, Blur More, and one more time. It's actually always up at the top, your last command, so I can just hit that again. And that's it. So give it a try.